What's going on, guys? Chinese guy here. Today we'll finally be getting back to the series where I teach you guys how to become a better tank driver, and in this video I want to teach you guys how to win tank battles, as that is a big part of being a tanker. So as always, if you do so enjoyed the video, please be sure to press that like button, and also be sure to subscribe for weekly top-notch Battlefield 4 videos. I would say there are three main key parts of being inside a tank battle, and all of them are just as important as the other ones. Number one is which side is the shell hitting the enemy tank. Number two is the angle of your tank shell, and number three, the angle of your tank relative to the enemy's tank. When I mentioned which side is the shell hitting the enemy tank, I'm just talking about is your shell hitting the front, the side, or the back, as these three different locations does different damages depending on which side the shell is hitting. If you hit the back, it basically does almost double the damage to the front, and it also gives you a higher chance of immobilizing the tank. It is very important that you always want to try to get some flanks, because if you successfully flank the enemy tank, they don't know you're there. You can easily shoot them in the back and probably take 2 shots to kill, much faster than a normal tank battle where 2 tanks are shooting at each other from the front. As for the angle of your tank shell, you always really want to try to land your shots perpendicularly on the enemy tank, as that does double the damage. And what that means is basically you want to have your shell hit directly at a 90-degree angle onto the enemy tank, as it is much more effective. And lastly, what I mean by angle of your tank relative to the enemy tank is it is a must that you have to try to point the front of your tank to the enemy's cannon as much as you can, because as I have said before, the front of your tank can take much more damage than any part of your tank. So if you're pointing that area to the enemy's cannon, he has no choice but to shoot that, or else he does no damage to you. It is also key as a beginner to stick with your other armor vehicles, as they could pose as distraction, and as well they could get you out of sticky situations. And even now, I still prefer to roll with other tanks than just go solo, because 2 tanks in a tank battle works a lot better in your favor than the enemy's favor. And if you're a beginner, this helps you much more because you are not as experienced. But a very important tip which I can give you is you really need to know when you have to pull out. Don't go all in thinking that you will win the tank battle. There are just times where you know you will die, so you make sure you recognize those times and just get the hell out of there. Let your weapons replenish, cool down, and reload, and maybe even repair your tank before you go back in, because if you go rushing in like this with low damage, not enough ammo, you might even lose the battle very quickly. Also, you really want to try not to be aggressive. You want to let the enemy tank come to you. The reason for this is if the enemy tank is coming towards you, you might have a better chance of actually finding good cover than the enemy tank, as he is rolling into new territory, and you might be very well set up, maybe with some engineers in the back. So you kind of want to be a little bit not as aggressive as you would play with something like infantry or jets. And speaking of engineers, it is very important that you try to play with a friend on voice chat as much as possible, because he or she can really help you out spot targets and repair your tank when needed. When you're rolling solo, repairing your tank is a very hard task to do, because you're most likely out on the battlefield exposed, and you don't want to get out of your tank where other armor vehicles can kill you, or even recon sniping you. And lastly, I have a quick little tip for the people who are running the tank solo and need to repair. You can actually use your main cannon, point at a direction, and when you press E or whichever button to leave your tank, your player will exit the vehicle on that side. So say there is a group of enemies right in front of you, and you can just quickly look right behind, get out, repair without the enemies even seeing you and shooting at you, and this way is much more effective. But you will have to train yourself to do this, because most of the time people just want to press E and just get out. So guys, that's it for today's video. Now what I really want to know from you guys is, how are you guys liking this series, and what else would you like me to make? be sure to leave your comments down below because I do read them and reply them. As always, I want to thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy and want to see more videos like this, be sure to press that like button and also be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.